Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Morgan and you're watching the second video of A Tale of Two Cities. Before we start, we're gonna discuss the setting of chapter 2, some places, characters, and some other items. Saint Antoine. Saint Antoine was a very poor district in Paris, where the Jacks, a secret revolutionary group, planned for the French Revolution. The Jacks. The name of the secret revolutionary group in Saint Antoine. They used the name to hide their real identity. Number 3. Monsieur Defarge. He is a strong-looking man, about 30. He's French and he's the wine shop owner. He's the leader of the Jacks, and when he was young, he was Dr. Manette's servant. Madame Defarge. The wife of Monsieur Defarge. She's at the same age. She seemed so quiet and calm, although she is not. She's knitting all the time. She's sitting all the time at the counter, and she had a very strong memory. Lettre de cachet. It's a document which is used by the aristocrats to get rid of any of their enemies, of course of the poor, without any accusation or trial. The Bastille. It is a famous prison in France where Dr. Manette and so many innocent prisoners were imprisoned without any accusation or even trial. It was a symbol of oppression. Now, the summary of chapter 2. The Old Shoemaker. Saint Antoine was one of the poorest parts of Paris. Hunger and poverty was written on the faces of everybody there, even children. One day, a large barrel of red wine which was going to the wine shop was dropped and broken into the street. The red wine ran over the rough stones, making small pools of muddy wine. All the people in the street rushed to where the wine and drank muddy wine, as if they had never tasted wine before. Their hands, faces, and clothes stained red with wine. A tall man called Gaspard took a handful of red mud and wrote the word blood on a wall in big letters as a sign for what would happen when the time would come and blood would flow in the streets of Paris, and the hands, faces, and clothes of Saint Antoine people would stain red, but with blood. Defarge, the wine shop owner, shouted at Gaspard, rushed, and deleted the word blood. When Defarge entered the wine shop, his wife coughed as a sign that there were strangers in the place who had arrived recently. Defarge pretended not to notice the strangers and began to talk to the three Jacks. Then the three Jacks left the wine shop to a specific room. The two strangers were Mr. Lorry and Lucy Manette, and Monsieur Defarge, who was the servant of Dr. Manette in the past, took Lucy and Mr. Lorry to see Dr. Manette. Dr. Manette was imprisoned in the Bastille for 18 years in a solitary cell that he completely changed. Now, he is free under the care of his old servant, Defarge. When they got to his room, Mr. Lorry was surprised that Monsieur Defarge locked Dr. Manette in his room. But Defarge declared that this is for his safety. Dr. Manette used to be in a prison for 18 years, so it's so dangerous to let him out. And when they were about to enter the room, Mr. Lorry saw the three Jacks spying on Dr. Manette. And when he asked Monsieur Defarge if he made a show of Dr. Manette, Monsieur Defarge declared that, yes, he made a show of Dr. Manette, but for a chosen few, his Jacks, to motivate them against their oppressors. When they entered the room, they found that Dr. Manette completely changed. He became a wreck of a man. He didn't realize that he had left the prison. He didn't even say his name, but only a number, 105 North Tower, which shocked all of them. Dr. Manette was busy making a shoe. Dr. Manette, or let's say the shoemaker, didn't remember Mr. Lorry, his old banker, or even Monsieur Defarge, his old servant. At that time, Lucy decided to enter Dr. Manette's life. Lucy was too much like her mother, so when she sat beside Dr. Manette and saw her face, he began to remember his life before the dark days of the prison. First, Dr. Manette cried and said some words which were not clear, but later on he felt calm and quiet with Lucy. At the end, Lucy decided to take her father with her to London, and finally, Dr. Manette was recalled to life. Thanks for good listening, and see you in another video of A Tale of Two Cities.